Welcome to the Beyond the Years podcast, a podcast about all things Disney.
Welcome to episode number 4. We are going to be talking about the new Thor Love and Thunder trailer that just recently dropped. We're really excited about it, so we're going to do a kind of quick recap of the trailer, talk about some potential plot points we think, and some of the characters, and just, again, overall thoughts. So, Josh, you want to start?
Yeah, so this will probably be a somewhat short episode, so people know. One, I worked all day and I'm pretty tired, and yeah, so
We
we both are tired today, and go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, he's freaking out because he thinks that we have to be perfect all the time, and that's not the case. Um, so we're not a Marvel only channel, so I don't think that, like me personally, I am never going to know everything. There are channels out there specifically for just like Marvel in general, and they're not working jobs aside from like their podcasting. So they have a lot more time to do research. They can watch the trailer 800 times in a day if they want. But that's not the case for us.
Yeah.
So
I've only watched it 3 times, as I think you've watched it 3 times as well, so.
it's fine. We can still talk about it. We would have liked to have gotten this podcast out right after the trailer dropped. We were both super excited about the trailer. But we wanted to go ahead and get our new recording equipment set up. We got a second microphone so that you guys can hear us a little bit more clearly, loud and clear. So hopefully it's working better on this one. But we're gonna go ahead and get into it. I think Josh for some reason is doubting his own abilities, but I know you, and I know that you know more than you think you know. So tell us a little bit about the trailer.
Okay, so the whole storyline, from what I can tell, is kind of a mixture of Jason Aaron's run on Thor, God of Thunder, and the Mighty Thor.
Mm-hmm.
So the Mighty Thor is Jane Foster's storyline, and Thor God of Thunder is the Gore storyline. So it's kind of an amalgamation of the two, which I'm super excited about, because that is probably my favorite comic book run in all of Marvel, and probably all of any comics that I've read.
Yeah.
Just his whole run from Gore, or Thor God of Thunder, to the Mighty Thor, and then to the current run that, man, I'm blanking out on his name, but I like the current run of Thor as well.
Okay. So, the trailer kind of starts out with Korg telling a bunch of kids a story about Thor. And it sounds like he's telling the story as if it's past tense.
Yeah.
So
that's been the theory that I've seen, like through Twitter and online, is that he's dead, and Korg's telling this after he's dead. So if that's the case, I'm gonna cry.
Me too.
Because I freaking love Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
As Thor. Do I think they'll kill him off? I don't think so.
I feel like it was something very intentionally dropped into the trailer to mislead everybody into thinking that he's going to get killed in this movie.
Yeah.
Because they know how podcasters who, who notice everything, we're going to notice something like that. So it might not even be an actual scene in the movie, in the final cut of the movie.
Yep.
But I'm willing to bet, I'm hoping that they just put that in there to throw everyone for a loop.
Yeah, Marvel's known for that.
Yeah.
Misleading trailers. So
definitely,
like you said, that might not even be in the movie. And if it is or if it isn't, like, who knows what kind of context. He could be saying that right before he goes to talk to Thor.
Yeah.
Or something. But yeah.
Okay.
So go ahead.
So before this movie, the last time we saw Thor, he was leaving with the Guardians of the Galaxy, correct?
Yep, at the end of Endgame.
And he was still Fat Thor.
Yeah.
Right? And so I guess the premise of this movie is that he's trying to find inner peace, and he's getting fit and healthy. And I guess Korg said turning his dad bod into a god bod.
Yep.
So getting back into shape.
Yes.
And then what kind of happens from there?
So then we see Jane.
Yeah.
Like soon after that, because Korg says, and then he found his hammer, and Thor goes to reach out for it, and it goes to Jane.
Yeah.
So that's like that was the big stinger reveal at the first trailer that we got of Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah. I love Jane.
Yeah.
I think
me
Natalie
too.
Portman is amazing. I have always loved her as an actress. I mean, there's a few movies that have been weird, but in general, I love her as an actress. So I was excited to see her. Mjolnir, how did she come to get Mjolnir? Because it was all crumbled up. It was crumbled up, and in this trailer, you could see that it was like all of the lightning was like coming through the cracks.
Yeah. I don't know yet.
Okay.
I'm assuming that's going to be something that we find out in the... So it's one of two things. It either gets reforged by Eitri, which was from Infinity War, the dwarf, and it's either that or it just, I don't know, Odin's magic happens to come back together. I mean, that's the biggest theory right now is like what and how is Thor's hammer Mjolnir put back together. So that's kind of like the biggest, like, what is happening.
Yeah.
But she's wielding it, and you can tell that it's cracked because you can see the cracks.
Yeah. Yeah. Natalie Portman, obviously they did a lot of CGI with the muscles, but she did work really hard to get prepared for this role. You can tell. She obviously was lifting a lot of weights, putting on a lot of muscle, and that takes so much work. This is a superhero movie, and she's a petite person. So obviously they're going to have to do some CGI. But
yeah,
she looks great.
And you can't expect, I mean, all the actors to look like Chris Hemsworth. Like, because I would not want a Jane Foster that looked like Chris Hemsworth.
She's still pretty jacked.
Yeah, but that's why I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, people are like, online are saying, oh, she's not big enough. And it's like the same with the She-Hulk.
Yeah.
She's not big enough. She's not defined. Like, dude, they don't realize how hard it is.
I was like, do you realize without any human growth hormone or performance enhancing drugs or steroids, how much work it takes for the female body to put on that kind of muscle and maintain that kind of definition?
Yeah,
it's
like
almost impossible.
3 times as hard compared to guys.
Oh yeah, and it's just almost impossible to do it without the steroids and whatever. So
yeah.
Anyway, I thought she looked really cool.
Yeah, I think she looks great. Her costume is like straight out of the freaking comics.
Yeah.
It's almost a 1-to-1 comparison, which I'm like all about. And Thor's costume, it's kind of an amalgamation, but I freaking hate the helmet.
Oh yeah, it looks stupid.
I don't like the nose. The nose looks too big. It doesn't look right. So I hope that's like the first helmet we see and it gets destroyed and it's like a joke.
Yeah.
Because it looks dorky.
We'll see. Okay. So what do you think the dynamic is going to be between Jane and Thor and then like Thor and Valkyrie? Where are we at there? Because I'm team Thor and Jane being together. Mm-hmm. I don't know what Valkyrie's doing. Tell me.
I think it's implied that Valkyrie is gay.
Oh, okay. When was that implied?
I mean, she was on an all-women's team at the Valkyries.
Yeah.
And I think it was just kind of implied in Thor Ragnarok and kind of in Endgame a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I feel like they were trying to build some kind of chemistry between Thor and Valkyrie, and I personally didn't see it. So if she's gay, that makes sense. But I just didn't know the dynamic.
I think they're trying to build that as a, like, maybe a more brother and sister
Okay.
type relationship.
It was not
But
very
not-
clear to me
Yeah.
what it was.
I don't think it's flirtatious. I mean, there's a couple times where it is a little flirtatious, but I don't. I'm not sure. I don't think it's meant to be Thor and Valkyrie
Yeah.
knocking boots.
Okay.
It's definitely
just-
going to be a Jane and Thor like love story.
Good, because that's pretty much all I care about.
It's so hard
No,
to.
not
I mean,
really,
it's so
but-
hard to like because you don't know what like Kevin Feige, like what his plans are with the character. So it's just one of those things.
Okay. I will say, even though I don't like Valkyrie and Thor together, she looked really cool in the trailer.
Oh yeah,
Like her hairstyle and her costume.
yeah, and I love Tessa Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
I love her in
Creed.
in Creed.
Yeah.
She's a great actress. So
Okay. So, Thor is trying to find inner peace, and then he hears about Gore, the destroyer of gods, right?
the God Butcher.
God Butcher.
Yep.
Who's played by Christian Bale. How do you think that's all come to pass?
So let's kind of go through the comics. In the comics, Gore is on a desolate planet
Mm-hmm.
with his wife and his child, and like this whole race of people kind of go through, and they are very religious, and they always are like praying. And one time, something happens, and Gore's sorry about that. We thought Grayson had woke up. So what I was saying.
I'm sorry. Like, when we record after his bedtime, we're in the room right next to his, and I am paranoid. Anytime Josh makes a sound with his leg, I assume that it's Grayson coming to walk in the door. And that would creep me out. So I keep checking. So,
Yeah, and
I'm sorry.
I'm faced towards the door, and I'm like watching the door the whole time, like Ashley's talking, just because of that reason. And she just keeps looking over there, and I'm like, why do you keep looking over there, you turkey? But anyway, we'll get back to it. Gore was on that planet. His wife and child die, and he said it's because the gods didn't listen to our prayers. So then later on, two gods land on the planet, like a god that's like in golden armor and all golden, and another god that's all black.
Okay.
It's been a long time since I've actually read the story, but
Okay.
he ends up picking up the sword of the black god, and it's called the all black necro sword, which is a symbiote sword like Venom
Yeah.
in the comics. In the movie, I don't know how they're going to portray that, but in the comics, it's a symbiote. So it starts to envelop him, and it gives him like superhuman strength and different feats. And he's pretty much said, "I'm going to destroy all the gods." Like that's his vow.
I was wondering, just by looking at him, what his powers were going to be, because he doesn't look like much.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, it's just he's gonna be super overpowered, and I believe he ends up taking the power of some of the gods as he kills them.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Interesting.
I'm not gonna swear by that. Like I'm gonna have to go through it and reread the comics, but I'm pretty sure that's how it goes.
Okay, so in the trailer, Thor basically finds out that this guy is coming to kill all of the gods,
Mm-hmm.
and then he goes to recruit Valkyrie. And how does Jane Foster or Mighty Thor come into play? She just show up? Does it look like she just shows up?
Here's my theory. This is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that she ends up traveling to, because it looks like the new Norway, or the new Asgard on Norway,
Okay.
is like a tourist destination because you see cruise ships and a bunch of different things like that.
Yeah, but it's very, very whimsical still. Like how is that on Earth? You know what I mean? Like there was like a flying ship with goats.
Goats? What's this Asgardian magic?
Okay.
That's what I'm going with.
Okay, we'll see. I'm like, where are we?
But they're still in Norway. But the cruise liners, I'm thinking, here's my theory, if you want to know my theory. Okay, so we don't see Jane through the whole trailer as Jane Foster. We see Jane as Mighty Thor.
Yeah.
Well, if she's as Mighty Thor the whole time, and if they're going to take that comic book series, she's got cancer as Jane Foster. And every time she uses Mjolnir, it purges the chemotherapy out of her body, and the cancer comes back. So each time she uses Mjolnir, it's like a double-edged sword. It just purges all the good chemo to kill the cancer out of her body. So what I think is happening in the movie is that whenever since she's got cancer, she starts doing like bucket list stuff. And I think one of the bucket list things is to like go to New Asgard and see if she can confront Thor or something like that.
Okay.
To tell him that like, hey, I've got cancer. I'm probably gonna die. Because in the comic book, it's pretty bad cancer. So maybe she goes there to visit New Asgard, visit Thor, or whatever she's doing. She's there, and she happens to be walking by. Because I think the theory is that where Mjolnir lays is pretty much where Odin kind of vanished in Ragnarok. And I think they're going to make it a memorial area. So the kind of prevailing theory is something happens, the hammer reforges itself, and Jane's the one that picks it up. Kind of like a sword in the stone kind of thing.
Okay.
She's just the one to pick it up there.
That's
and then
cool.
Protects whoever's attacking, and then Thor shows up because he catches wind that New Asgard's in trouble. So
I can't wait for that whole scene, like to watch the full scene when they see each other again for the first time.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be crazy.
So awesome.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I love that he knows how long they've been apart. 8 years, 42 days, and
so many months or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
I mean, I don't know a lot about the comics. You read the comics. Thor, as you stated before, is one of your favorite superheroes.
Yeah, he is my favorite superhero.
Your very favorite superhero.
Yeah.
I love Thor, but he's not mine. I don't know what to say about the trailer except that I'm really excited. I'm thinking that this is going to be like definitely a top 5 for both of us.
Oh yeah.
On our Marvel list. So we'll see. I doubt it's going to be disappointing. It looks so good.
Yeah.
So towards the end of the trailer, we get to see Russell Crowe.
Yep.
As Zeus. Is it Zeus?
Yeah, Zeus.
Okay. Why is Zeus there?
So in the comics, he's part of the Skyfathers, which is like a whole pantheon of the different religions in Marvel Comics. So you have like Odin, who was a Skyfather, Zeus, who's a Skyfather, Vishnu, the Indian god, he's a Skyfather, and there's a plethora of others. But like they all kind of meet in the comics and talk about godly things, and like they help, cosmic threats and all that kind of stuff. So that's just kind of what I'm getting, and they're obviously on Olympia.
Okay.
On the planet Olympia, or in an area called Olympia, I'm assuming.
I wonder why we're there. And then Thor is like chained to the ground.
Yeah, I'm confused why he's chained to the ground.
He's chained to the ground, and the girls are sitting on the throne behind Zeus.
Mm-hmm.
So, Valkyrie and Jane are sitting behind
and
Zeus.
Korg.
Oh, Korg?
Yep.
Okay. But they're kind of like
disguised
in costumes.
Yeah. That cloak, same looking cloak, but different color than what Thor was wearing. Because Thor was wearing like a blue looking shawl looking thing. And then Zeus just vanishes it off him. Mm-hmm. Which is hilarious.
So he's standing there naked. And then we can see a Loki tattoo on his back.
Yep. Yeah. You can see the Loki horns. And I think it says Loki above the top of his back too. Okay. Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that'll be, I don't know, it's just a good homage to Loki. Even though Loki is technically alive. So
Loki's alive after Infinity War?
If you would watch the Loki series, you would know.
So
and this is where this same issue happened the other night. I said, so do you want to catch up on Moon Knight because it's still new? No, I'm not going to watch it until season 2 comes out, Josh. There's no there's no reason I should watch it right now. I was like, whatever.
Okay, so to be fair, it's really frustrating when you're having to watch an episode every week.
Yeah,
I would rather just
we can binge watch it all right now, though.
I know, but in the future, when we do this podcast, we're gonna have to we're probably gonna do a breakdown of every episode. Whereas I would much prefer to binge watch the entire season.
Yuck.
I lose interest if I don't do it that way. So, like with Loki, I watched, how many episodes are there?
6.
I think I watched like 4 of them. And then...
Yeah, but did you really watch them? Yeah. Because she plays on her phone. The whole time.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what I'm looking for, so I'm not a comic book expert. But I feel like I was paying a decent amount of attention to Loki.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Like with Falcon and Winter Soldier, so boring. I was so freaking bored. I was like, I'm done. After one episode.
We gotta watch some of them at least. Even if we skip that one, you gotta watch the other ones because the other ones are actually really good.
Anyway, so this all started because we found out through you, Josh, that Loki is still alive.
Yes. But in a multiverse. But not a multiverse.
So our Loki is in another multiverse.
It's confusing. You just have to watch the show and you'll understand.
Okay.
But I am super excited about Thor: Love and Thunder.
Oh yeah.
Just as a whole.
And
I'm excited for Gore. Christian Bale, he's an Academy Award winning actor.
Yeah.
And that's like, I mean, he's going to play like one of the best superheroes as Batman and one of the best Marvel villains as Gore. So it's going to be super cool.
We're at that point in the MCU where we're starting to see like A-list celebrities kind of come into play.
Yep. Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
Perfect example.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I guess more to come with that as we continue in the journey of the MCU and just Marvel in general. July
8th.
July 8th. So that's not far at all.
About a month and a couple weeks out. Month and a half, maybe.
Yeah, we'll definitely do a podcast probably right when we get home from seeing the premiere movie.
Yep.
Because I bet we'll see the premiere unless I close that night, which
we're going to make sure
she
doesn't close.
Request to not close that night.
But yeah, we'll watch it that Thursday and come home and do a podcast ASAP.
Yeah. Okay, so the Guardians we saw very shortly in the trailer. What extent do you think they're going to be in the trailer?
In the movie?
Or in the movie, yeah, sorry.
Honestly, I think they're just going to show up in the beginning. So maybe the first... So we're going to get a training montage with Thor. And I think he's going to be still with the Guardians because when he's like skinny and ripped, he's still with the Guardians when he cuts up the jacket and stuff. So I would say maybe the first quarter, the first 25 to 30 minutes of the movie, we're going to have the Guardians. And then they're kind of just going to jet off and do their own thing because they got to set up for the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special that's coming out this year. And then they're setting up for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which comes out next year. So I think they're not going to be like a major part, but they are going to be a pretty big part of the movie.
Okay.
And it'll be nice to see the Guardians again.
Yeah, for sure. What else?
Oh, man, I don't know. I'm just super excited for the freaking movie.
Yeah.
I love, like I said, I love Thor. He's my favorite Marvel character and my favorite character overall. I love Norse mythology. That's kind of my thing. So like when we go to Disney World and we went to the Norway area at Epcot, I was like in heaven.
They have, in one of the buildings, they have like a wood carved sculpture of Thor.
Yeah, and Odin and Loki.
It's really cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. Super fun. But, yeah, so I'm going to be head over heels for this movie. I'm sure it'll probably be my number one, if I'm going to guess, as of now. It's probably going to rank up there quick. There's so many other things that we could talk about, breaking down the trailer, but I don't have the notes for it.
You did a great job. You know more than you think you do.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, you know, if you really want to break down the trailer, you got to go to some of the guys that spend hours and hours breaking down the trailers. If you want to hear that, though, you go to New Rockstars. They got a pretty good trailer breakdown that I was going to watch before we did the podcast, so I'd at least come into this with some more ideas on what's going to happen, but I just had no time today. I was super busy at work. But it was one of those things. But I'm excited for the movie. Ashley's definitely excited for the movie. I'm just curious to see where this movie takes place as well. If it's kind of after Multiverse of Madness, or if it runs during the same time of Multiverse of Madness, or if it becomes, you know, after that, before that, where it lands in the MCU timeline. That'll be the next biggest thing. And if there's any multiversal jargon in this movie.
Could be. We'll see.
Yeah.
So I guess we're just going to wrap it up now. Thank you guys for listening today. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you do, make sure to give us a rating on whatever platform you are listening. We are currently on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube. So hopefully there is something there for everyone. We put in quite a lot of work to get it up and running on all of those streaming services.
Yeah, Ashley's been working her butt off the past 2 days because she's had the past 2 days off.
Yeah, I had 2 days off in a row.
That, for her job, that doesn't happen often, but yeah, she put in a lot of work and she's done an amazing job on the thumbnails and on YouTube and everything. So props to Ashley for doing that. We're going to start working on a website probably within the next week. We'll probably start tinkering with that.
We'll see what we can do. It's like when you create the Spotify and the Apple Podcasts and the YouTube channel, it doesn't take a super, super long time, but it does take time that you need to fully focus on that one task. So like yesterday, I spent several hours setting up the Apple Podcast and the YouTube channel and editing the thumbnails for the YouTube channel and compressing the thumbnail over the audio for YouTube because YouTube's a little bit extra work, which is fine. I could not have done that if I was trying to watch a toddler at the same time. It does not happen that way. And so the whole creating the website thing, maybe next week, because it's a holiday week and I actually have 3 days off in a row.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have the same 3 days off in a row.
No, it's like a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah, as soon as I go back to work, she's off for 3 days, so.
Yeah. But we'll see. It's a commitment, but for right now, we're happy with what we're doing. Hopefully everyone else likes it.
This will probably be the last podcast for at least till Sunday.
Yeah,
Correct?
we'll see.
Because this week, or this Friday, we get the first 2 episodes of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series on Disney+.
Ooh, okay.
So, now, here's my thing. I'm not super well versed in Star Wars. I know just enough to be a little bit dangerous. But we're still going to watch it, and we're not going to break down the episode, but we'll give our thoughts on the episode. Because, I mean, they're all coming back. Hayden Christensen's back. Ewan McGregor's back. I mean, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, so we'll just kind of see how the recording schedule goes for us. We had a tentative plan to pretty much record every Sunday with the exception of Sundays that I close.
Mm-hmm.
That would give us 3 podcasts a month. But what's ending up happening is that we're wanting to get, like you talked about in the previous podcast,
A catalog
of podcasts so people can listen to them, which I agree with. But unfortunately, that's leading to us recording later into the evening after we've both worked for the most part that day and then wrangled a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
And it's exhausting. But we're still here.
Yeah. And maybe we can record Sunday mornings and then have someone watch Grayson for an hour. Hour and a half.
A lot of moving parts when you have a kid.
Yeah.
But
especially when he's in the crazy toddler stage.
Yeah, and it's not like he is very independent, but he's going through a phase right now where he wants us to actively play with him. So you can't not engage with him. Like if he was sitting in the room with us, playing with his trucks, it would be, Mommy, 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 play trucks with me, or Daddy, 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 play trucks with me.
Yeah.
And so we would have about 5 seconds of time to record.
Yeah. It's fun playing with him right now. Because earlier we were running around the house all playing, and Ashley was like, man, I can't wait till we get Nerf guns.
Yeah, so a little story time real quick before we officially end the podcast, if you're still here. So we have these long door stops that kind of you prop up against the door and the ground so that nobody can break into your house. So we have 3 of them for the 3 entrances to the house, and we each had one of those, and we were shooting each other. He thinks he's Spider-Man right now, so he thinks he's shooting webs, even though it would be more of like a gun situation. But we were shooting each other with these long poles with our spider webs, and we did that for a while.
Yeah, and he's obsessed with the Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends TV show, and he's obsessed with the bad guy Rhino. So I'm always Rhino, and he always is like, no, Rhino, no, go away, Rhino. And I put the thing on my head like a rhino horn, and I chase him around.
Oh my God.
It's hilarious.
Him saying Rhino is the most adorable thing.
Yeah.
Rhino!
Yeah.
Mommy, get Rhino!
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He's great.
So cute.
But a handful. Whew, man.
Definitely a handful. All right, so we'll wrap it up. Thank you guys for listening today. More to come. We're very excited about this podcast. We hope you all enjoy it as well. And everyone have a great day.